Let's talk a little bit about diet. How important is that, or was it to you, especially when you were in competitive running, when you're doing marathons?
Right.
How important is it to prepare your body that way?
Well, I think nutrition is extremely important. I'll be honest with you, I've never paid a lot of attention to it as far as following a strict diet. I've always ate what my body tells me it wants. And when I'm running a lot, like I have for a long time now, my body kind of tells me what it wants to eat. And there's some days it wants a big old hunk of red meat. Other days, maybe a slab of fish. Other days, maybe a bowl full of noodles, maybe some rice, potatoes. And when I'm hungry, I eat. When I'm not hungry, I don't eat. And and listen, I've got a wicked sweet tooth, and I love cookies and brownies and cakes and stuff like that. I don't overdo it, but I don't not let myself have any of that kind of stuff.